Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And we got earthquake in Myanmar. And almost 100,000 people are
Lost.
Feared
to be lost or injured at least. Disappeared.
And then we have Megan Fox baby bombshell.
Yes, so Megan Fox is adding one more to her whole Transformers group, so we'll talk about that as well.
She started in Transformers, and now she's making Transformers.
Yeah.
You want to do your 15 minutes in Spanish, or
sure.
You want to talk a little bit?
Let's go to the 15 minutes this time.
Okay.
Let me just double check. Okay, well, I hope this is going to work. Espérenme. Buenas noches a todos. ¿Cómo les va? Les digo que seguimos haciendo pruebas y etcétera. Y hoy es viernes y yo no sabía que hoy la SEP en México no hay clases para alumnos de primaria, secundaria, etcétera. Y por eso hay tráfico por todos lados. Yo no estaba enterada. Pero bueno, X. Y sí, primera noticia, lamentable y tristemente, y pues estando en México sabemos bastante sobre esto. Más de 150 muertos y cientos de heridos en un devastador terremoto de magnitud 7.7 en Myanmar y Tailandia. Obviamente todavía son puras noticias preliminares. Los videos que hay en X y de noticias, pues se ve horrible. Varios edificios en construcción que se cayeron, varios otros que, por ejemplo, tenían albercas hasta arriba, se estaban sacudiendo y parecían cascadas cayendo hacia el suelo. Y pues sí, por ahora se sabe que hay 150 muertos por lo menos y cientos de heridos y personas desaparecidas. Y para cualquier mexicano o persona que viva en zonas de temblores, saben lo terrorífico y horroroso que es cada vez que pasan estas cosas. Esperemos obviamente que no hayan réplicas para México o para otros países por allá. Y pues sí, varios edificios se derrumbaron y pues empieza toda la vela y labores de rescate y de buscar a personas, y cada vez que pasa pues es horrible y obviamente hay que esperar que la gran mayoría de las personas estén bien, sus familiares también, pero pues veremos qué tipo de noticias siguen saliendo sobre este terremoto. Y pues sí, lamentablemente hay que empezar con esa noticia porque obviamente está por todo el mundo. Pero además de eso, hablemos de algo más ligero. Bueno, me cae pesada, pero de un tema más ligero. Megan Fox, espérenme, y Machine Gun Kelly, que ahora están separados, acaban de convertirse en papás. Megan Fox ya es mamá, tuvo hijos con Brian Austin Green, creo que así se llamaba el señor, y el rapero, que es este güey, que es bastante interesante también, fue el que anunció la llegada de su hija y de la cual ya se sabía que venía en camino, pero justamente en noviembre estaban comprometidos y decidieron pues romper su compromiso. Ya no están juntos, pero pues dicen que van a tratar de hacer lo mejor por su hija, pero pues una vez más nos remonta a la plática sobre la importancia de tener padres unidos, padres juntos, la historia de Megan Fox y sus hijos en el pasado ha sido bastante tumultuosa también y hablada bastante por los medios y por gente más conservadora, tradicional, porque decidió que sus hijos, que ella pensaba que sus hijos no iban a saber su género hasta que ya crecieran, entonces les dio la oportunidad de explorar su género desde que fueran niños chiquitos y los dejaba usar vestidos y seguir con toda esta confusión de género e ideológica. Y fue bastante criticada por esto, obviamente pues le dio igual, pero estos hijos también vienen de otro divorcio, el que tuvo con Brian Austin Green, y de tener papás separados, que encima de eso, pues con toda la postura ideológica, y justamente estábamos hablando de esto ayer o antier, me parece, con los hijos de la hija de J-Lo y la hija de Ben Affleck, que parece que hay algo en el agua en Hollywood, porque curiosamente muchísimas de las celebridades tienen hijos que pues siguen toda esta ideología de, bueno, Es que estaba haciendo como tests. Pensé que no se escuchaba. Como ahorita no puedo moverme a ver si hay alguien diciendo que no se escucha, por eso pregunto. Pero obviamente es porque Hollywood se cuece en el progresismo y todo el mundo es muy progre y muy liberal y muy abiertos. Entonces todos sus hijos tienen que tener algún tipo de rareza porque nada más que sean ricos y privilegiados, pues no funciona. Entonces, pues ahora antes era que todos tenían algún tipo de problema con adicciones o con psicológicos o que salían demasiado de fiesta y ahora pues está de moda, digamos, que todos los chamacos ahora tengan problemas de género y disforia de género y tal vez no sepan su género. Entonces, quién sabe, parece y están diciendo, y Machine Gun Kelly ha dicho en sus redes sociales que pues es una niña, pero quién sabe si Megan Fox la tome como tal, o si la quiera transformar también. Tiene hijos de 12, 10 y 8 años de edad, pero estos mismos a los cuales pues les estaba dejando explorar su género, que obviamente crea muchísima confusión en la cabeza de niños pequeños. Justamente por eso se está peleando porque no se enseñe la ideología de género en escuelas, porque no es inofensivo, hasta diría no es tan inofensivo como, por ejemplo, explicarle a niños que pues hay personas que son dos hombres, hay parejas que son dos hombres, hay parejas que son dos mujeres. Hasta eso podría ser un poco más inofensivo porque por lo menos no lleva a consecuencias médicas, no lleva a consecuencias donde empiezan a irse por un camino en donde se vuelve irreversible eventualmente. Por eso hay muchas personas, me incluyo, que están en contra de transicionar a menores, de empezar a meter todo este tipo de ideologías. Ups. Todo este tipo de ideologías en escuelas, en especial para niños muy chicos o pues primaria, digamos, secundaria también, cuando no tienen la capacidad de tomar decisiones de por vida médicas racionales y en especial porque vemos que está volviendo básicamente pues casi un contagio entre grupos de amigos y amigas. Justamente con Guy hablamos sobre el libro de Abigail Shrier que se llama Daño Irreversible o Irreversible Damage, que habla sobre esta pues, nueva modalidad de disforia de género que en inglés se llama Rapid Onset Gender Dysphoria o disforia de género que llega rápido. No sé la traducción literal, no me acuerdo, pero donde grupos de pues, niñas y adolescentes empiezan a sentir incómodas con sus cuerpos, tal vez tienen algo que les pasó cuando eran más jóvenes, algún tipo de cosa no indeseada por parte de un adulto, lo voy a poner así, que les pasó en su juventud y que ahora ha hecho que estén incómodos con sus cuerpos, que tienen otros tipos de problemas de salud mental, pero todo el mundo se enfoca en que ahora tienen disforia de género y creen que son niños o que son no binarias o que son algún tipo de animal, de algún anime. Porque también está ligado con el anime por alguna razón. Faltan estudios por ahí para explicar por qué, pero no sale así de la noche a la mañana y pues Hollywood y las celebridades y las personas que muchas de estas adolescentes tal vez no admiran ellos mismos, pero sí sus padres, que ahora pues están en sus 30s y 40s y que les tocaron, que son de su generación, ahora son súper progres y súper mente abierta y también dejan que sus hijos tomen este tipo de decisiones cuando siguen siendo menores de edad. Entonces, esperemos que algo le cambie el chip a Megan Fox y que tal vez regrese, aunque no sé si sería buena idea, con Machine Gun Kelly, porque por lo menos así esta niña tendría a sus padres juntos y no sería otra vez lo mismo que por lo que pasaron los hijos ahora ya más grandes de Megan Fox. Pero pues muchos también lo hacen por el mami, por decir que sí, yo soy tan abierta y justamente por eso quiero hablar de y aquí nada más era otro artículo ya de hace varios años diciendo que es criticada por vestir a sus hijos con ropa de niña y pues sí, y qué bueno que sea criticada por eso. Pero justamente otra noticia que voy a tocar rápido, nada más porque tiene un poco que ver con esta, es que anunciaron ahora que viene un Freaky Friday o un Viernes de Loco 2. Ya salió el primer trailer o el primer avance y justamente dentro de esta película, una de las actrices principales, además de Lindsay Lohan, que ya por fin regresó a actuar y decidió dejar de andar en la locura y que regresó viéndose como si tuviera otra vez 20 y tantos años, aunque tiene 30 y tantos, casi 40 me parece, pero algo se hizo, no sé a quién le pagó, no sé si hizo algún tipo de trato con el diablo o con algún cirujano muy especializado, pero también hemos visto a varias de estas actrices que ya se veían bien acabadas, que tuvieron unos 20 muy difíciles y la verdad me siento mal por todo lo que le pasó a Lindsay Lohan, por todo lo que tuvo que vivir, por todas las críticas y porque nadie las estaba ayudando, al igual que con Britney Spears. Todas estas actrices pues de los 2000s y 2010s que pasaron tiempos bastante turbios y que tuvieron adicciones bastante fuertes y que pues nada más toda la prensa y todo el mundo se reía de ellas. Ahora parece que, y que bueno, varias están regresando a la luz y regresando a trabajar y una de ellas, pues Lindsay Lohan en Freaky Friday o Un Viernes de Locos 2. Pero sobre la que quiero hablar es Jamie Lee Curtis porque ella, esta actriz, y que pues, o sea, sí es buena, sí me gustó mucho en la primera película, sí me gustó mucho la primera película porque pues es de mi generación, pero Jamie Lee Curtis es una de las actrices más progres y liberales y de mente abierta porque tiene un hijo que se cree niña, que se cree mujer, y quien ha hecho muchísimos elogios y ha hablado muchísimo y ha hecho conferencias sobre su hijo, que ahora se llama Ruby, y siempre anda hablando y, pues yo diría, usándolo también en parte como promoción o como véanme, yo la más mente abierta y denme puntitos de aliade porque yo soy la mejor persona en el mundo porque acepté que mi hijo se pusiera un vestido y se metiera estrógeno y haga como si fuera mujer. Pero también y sí, se asegura que su amor por su hijo transgénero Rubí sea visible, el amor es amor, el amor de una madre no conoce juicios y pues ayuda a que se echen flores y que todo el resto del mundo también les eche flores. Entonces, también hay que pensar en qué tipo de, por qué lo hacen y qué tipo de personas siguen con todo pues, reflectores encima y qué tipos de mensajes están tratando de seguir dando allá afuera. Pero a la vez Jamie Lee Curtis, que es una de las originales Scream Queens por su legado en películas de terror, tengo como un cachito muy pequeño en mi mente y mi corazón por ella porque escribió un libro muy importante hace mucho tiempo ya para niños y afecta también, me ha afectado personalmente y me acuerdo de ese libro también. Entonces, nada más por eso iría a ver Freaky Friday y porque me gustó la primera y para ver pues qué cosas horribles van a hacer porque cada secuela que saca Hollywood es pésima. Y parece que en esta también porque van a tener a las hijas o las sobrinas o las nietas de Jamie Lee Curtis y hijas de Lindsay Lohan y ahora todas las cuatro van a cambiar de cuerpos y mentes y quién sabe quién va a estar atrapada en qué cuerpo y tal vez se podría volver un poco confuso y que la trama se vuelva ya demasiado que no se entienda. Entonces pues falta ver, obviamente la vamos a ir a ver y voy a dar una reseña, no reseña, no me gusta llamar de reseñas, una crítica social y cultural sobre la película, pero pues sí, ahora sí ya se me olvidó de qué estaba hablando, pero aparte de eso no vi demasiadas noticias en las que pueda tocar en español o del mundo latino, seguramente hay, pero pues ya es viernes también y con la noticia del temblor y con más noticias terribles del mundo, pues como es viernes mejor no andar pensando en cosas horribles justo antes de entrar al fin de semana, que espero que le tengan un excelente fin de semana. Déjenme ver si alguien ha dicho algo. Sí. Gracias, Emanuel Francisco. Dice que qué guapa soy. No siempre. Me deberías de ver en la mañana. Walker dice, con esta ideología de género en las escuelas, ¿cómo se podría llevar la batalla al nivel académico universitario? Que es de donde sale esto, porque realmente se sabe que en la sociedad esto no es popular. pues es justamente, o sea, que se necesitan personas que las hay en las universidades, pero que normalmente tienen miedo de salir a decir pues, la verdad o de salir a realmente dar sus opiniones por cómo son tratados normalmente. Pero recordarles que pues, son básicamente las únicas personas que son las que siguen dentro de las universidades de tratar de hacer un cambio. Así es como empezó en, por ejemplo, Estados Unidos. Charlie Kirk, si no saben quién es, armó un grupo gigante de redes en universidades que se volvió una red universitaria de puras personas que creen en la verdad y que pues piensan que todo este tipo de ideologías no deberían de ser la única postura de las universidades y lo único de lo que se puede hablar en universidades. Entonces, pues es empezar con eso, con debate, con no tener miedo a hablar, pero también obviamente estando en Latinoamérica o en México es un poco más difícil hacer eso porque hay consecuencias pues, un poco más graves, aunque ahora en Estados Unidos también las está viendo, pero pues también demandar, o sea, si estás en una universidad, pedirle a la universidad, no demandar, pedirle a la universidad que pues traigan también opiniones diversas, que no es enseñar ni es aprender a pensar el solo tener una línea de pensamiento y que no se pueda permitir que nadie más diga nada. Highlight. O sea, expandir y traer a la luz cuando hay este tipo de... o sea, cuando no te dejan hablar, hacerlo visible y decir como no me están dejando hablar o me están criticando solamente por mi opinión y eso no conduce a un ambiente universitario y de aprendizaje que ayuda y no ayuda a nadie. Y sí, la sociedad no es popular, pero como se han adueñado y han capturado, en inglés captured, a tantas instituciones, en especial de aprendizaje, universitarias, escuelas, de las artes, pues en Hollywood, justamente como tienen el poder de determinar el conocimiento y la cultura, porque se han adueñado y han sacado y hecho a un lado a todos los que no piensen como ellos, y luego dicen que este lado es el que es fascista, pero bueno, es justamente tratar de regresar y tratar de pedir y traer y explicar por qué es importante tener diferencia de opinión y de ahí formar la verdad. Ahí sí me fui en una tangente muy grande. Y Maui Yoga Nuevas dice, la diferencia con Curtis es que su hija nació en el 86. No defiendo lo que está sucediendo actualmente, pero de alguna forma considero diferente su situación. Lo actual sí es algo horrible. Pues sí, y justamente existe esa diferencia entre pues, diferentes ramas de personas trans, si no saben qué es y aquí sí, no sé si lo puedo decir en YouTube, pero auto, espacio, 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 gine, espacio, 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 filia, espacio, 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 búsquenlo en Google. Ese es básicamente cuando un güey, se siente, lo que más le atrae es verse a sí mismo como mujer y se vuelve una parafilia sexual, como también, por ejemplo, el BDSM, el BDSM o sadomasoquismo, etcétera. Todas esas son parafilias y esta es otra parafilia, pero como hoy en este mundo los activistas trans han básicamente tomado preso a el resto de la comunidad alfabeto y se ha puesto tanto foco en solamente las personas trans y la comunidad trans en vez de pues también gays, lesbianas, etcétera. Ahora cualquiera que tenga este tipo de parafilias o cualquiera que se haga llamar mujer, pues inmediatamente lo es, porque si no es discriminatorio. Entonces ahí yo creo que hay un gran problema para diferenciar entre los que sí, yo diría, son realmente trans, pues, o que sí tuvieron ¿cómo se llama? Gender. Lo acabo de decir. No. No es disonancia de género. ¿Por qué no puedo pensar en what's it called? Disforia de género. There we go. Gender dysphoria. Es de los que sí tuvieron disforia de género desde que eran chiquitos, que siempre, o sea, sí han sentido eso, sí sienten esa desconexión entre su mente o que hay algo ahí que los está haciendo pensar así y que sí se vuelve una tortura básicamente y que transicionan pero que siguen admitiendo que biológicamente son hombres masculinos y que o biológicamente son femeninos. Voy a tomar de ejemplo a Buck Angel y a Blair White. ambos que dicen y admiten como sí, yo transicioné porque era lo mejor para mí, pero no quiero forzar a nadie, si no quieres usar mis pronombres no los uses, y vivir de esta manera es lo que me place a mí hacer y no estoy molestando a nadie básicamente, ni forzando a nadie a hacer X, Y o Z, ni tratando de pensar la forma en la que otras personas piensan. Entonces, esos dos, o sea, a ellos dos, a Blair White y a Buck Angel, yo sí diría, sí usaría sus pronombres y los respeto muchísimo y todo el trabajo que han hecho por tratar de sacar esta ideología justamente de escuelas y etcétera. Es muy diferente eso a los que se ponen vestido y dicen, soy mujer y si no me dices mujer, te voy a dar un chingadazo. O sea, es muy diferente. Entonces, falta mucho hacer esa distinción. Y también, como dice Blair White y lo ha dicho últimamente, es también importante que ahora sí los que sí son de la comunidad, los que sí quieren nada más que todos los dejen en paz y vivir en paz y que se pongan, se quiten, se hagan lo que quieran, que por mí está perfecto si eres un adulto, mientras no andes demandando que los demás o paguen por eso o también jueguen con, o sea, te sigan el jueguito a la enfermedad mental. Lo que dice es que esos miembros de la comunidad lo que tienen que hacer es, pues, por ahora irse por un rato y callarse por un rato y dejar que los locos sigan en su locura y pues eventualmente van a terminar teniendo que cambiar porque la sociedad ya no lo va a seguir tolerando por mucho más tiempo por los excesos a los que se han llegado. Pero bueno. Ay, tengo que dejar de... Estamos haciendo pruebas. Pero bueno, ahora sí nos vamos a la sección en inglés. Varias de las historias que acabo de hacer en español, pues también las vamos a tocar en inglés. Y la próxima semana, a ver si ahora sí, con todos estos tests que hemos estado, pruebas que hemos estado haciendo, logramos también empezar a sacar esta sección en español y un poco más enfocada, espero, como videos, como clips en el canal y traer también más videos editados. Para la próxima semana. Muchísimas gracias a todos los que vieron el video sobre Blancanieves original. Me parece importante contar la historia y por qué es como es y por qué es importante que todavía se refleje eso en la sociedad y en la cultura, porque hay muchas personas que se sienten identificados y para quienes es importante la historia todavía. Aparte de eso, tengan un excelente fin de semana. Cuídense, no hagan cosas tontas. Y nos vemos el lunes. Ahorita nos vamos a inglés y de aquí nos vamos a la página RUMBLE, donde podemos hablar más libremente. El link está abajo y los subtítulos deberían de estar prendidos en YouTube. Ok, ya me callo. Buenas noches. There we go.
Okay.
Have to readjust everything.
So we usually get right into the cultural stories, but today I think we'd start with the earthquake story.
Yes.
The earthquake in Myanmar. How do you say it?
Myanmar.
Myanmar. It's near Thailand. 100,000 people are feared missing,
Yes.
let's just say, because we're on YouTube. Some of the videos that are coming out are pretty spectacular. I was surprised at how well some of the buildings stood up because you had brand new buildings with pools on top that were swaying, the water was coming out, but they held up fairly without issue.
Yes.
But there was one building that was under construction that just absolutely crumbled.
Yeah, quite a few of the ones that were under construction were the ones that fell, unfortunately.
And the shame is that this earthquake happened in the middle of the day, so it had to be filled with construction workers. I used to do high-rise construction, so I know on a lot of those levels there had to be iron workers, framing workers, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the government said it's too dangerous to send people in currently because they collapsed so fast, the rubble is still unstable, so I don't know what's going to happen.
And yes, hopefully, I mean, eventually the rescue efforts can get underway and more people can find family members. I mean, being from Mexico and knowing all of the earthquakes that have happened here and all of the efforts and things that have been done to do rescue, to do search and rescue, I mean, it is an incredible amount of work that has to be done. And usually the citizenry, gets together and tries to do it all and help in any ways they can. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see who actually steps in this time. Is it going to be China or is it going to be the United States? I think China wants to get its sphere of influence into Myanmar. So they may actually step in and help with a lot of the relief. And I would much actually, in this particular situation, see China step in than the U.S. because China is right next door. They have all the assets they need right there. They can transport them very quickly. So hopefully China does step in this particular case. I was also going to say, I had noted out, we live in Mexico City, so
Yes.
This is always in the back of your mind if you live in Mexico City. We're on a fault line. Major earthquakes have hit. In today's earthquake, a lot of people are reporting this is the largest earthquake in the past couple of decades. It's not true. Mexico City's
maybe in that zone.
In that zone, yeah. But people are saying worldwide. I noted down some of the big earthquakes that happened recently in Mexico City. We had an 8.2 in 2017. Then we had an 8 in 1985, another 8 in 1995, a 7.1 in 2017, and a 7.6 in 2022, which was very recently.
Yes, and it's interesting because for all of those big earthquakes, I was either not born yet or I was in Vancouver. So I actually never really felt any of the big ones. I mean, there was one when I was younger, maybe the 1995 one, but all of the big ones, I mean, I always watched from afar, and you feel so like you can't do anything to help, and it was pretty frustrating. But I know also that Mexico usually, for the other one, there was another big one, like in 2009 or some time around there. Mexico always sends and tries to help with search and rescue efforts because we're kind of so knowledgeable now with them, and so have had some success doing it in our own country. So I'm sure Mexico will try to send some rescue people out there.
Oh, yeah. There was something I was going to say. I almost forgot. I used to live in Southern California, so I have experienced quite a few earthquakes there. Mm-hmm. Nothing on this magnitude. So... oh God, now I forgot what I was going to say. I know it was important.
I was going to give the latest updates.
If I do remember, we'll go back to the story, but, that's what I was going to say. The 1985 earthquake in Mexico City was especially devastating. The number of dead is still to this day unknown because
85?
In 85.
Yeah, that's the one everybody
that's when
knows.
That was really a wake-up call for Mexico City and the rest of Mexico. They increased the construction standards after that point. So they had large earthquakes after that were equal to that earthquake, but they didn't do nearly as much damage because the construction standards were so much higher after that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if Myanmar is in a regular earthquake zone and what their construction standards are, but it seemed like a lot of the buildings did withstand this massive earthquake. It was mainly the buildings that were under construction that fell. I know there must be a lot of poverty in that country as well, so I would expect some of the cheaper structures to have maybe collapsed.
Yes.
But hopefully those are not high-rise buildings.
Yes. And if you are in Mexico, the first national... What's it called? When you rehearse. El primer simulacro nacional se va a llevar a cabo el 29 de abril, me parece. Espérenme. Lo acababa de buscar y ahora se me olvidó otra vez. A las 11 de la mañana y van a simular un temblor de 8.1, me parece, de magnitud. A las 11 de la mañana, así Espérenme. Ahora se me olvidó.
Okay, maybe we'll move on after this.
No, hold on. 29 de abril. Es que no lo ponen, no es lo primero que ponen, nada más ponen la hora. But yes, so the first national, what's it called when you rehearse something?
Rehearsal.
Sure. No, yeah. Okay. Will be the 29th of April at 11 a.m. All the alarms will sound in Mexico City, at least in Mexico, so...
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the next story here, which we got quite a few pop culture stories today. So this one is Megan Fox welcomes baby with her ex Machine Gun Kelly. So I think they recently in the last few years just broke...
last November. They were engaged in last November. Apparently Megan Fox called it quits. They have been having a lot of issues. Machine Gun Kelly is a special kind of person.
I actually thought her first husband was a much...
Brian Austin Green.
Yeah, would have been a better father figure than Machine Gun Kelly, but she seems to like to raise a lot of Transformers, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I did talk about this a little bit in Spanish. The whole divorced parents thing, the issues that causes, and also exactly the fact that she decided to raise her children in a gender-neutral way, so they could pick their own genders eventually, because she didn't want to assume anything. And she said that while she was pregnant, the first time, like with her kids that are now almost teenagers, she felt that they weren't ready to decide their own gender, so she would just let them do whatever they wanted, and that just confuses kids, and it creates, especially with being children of divorce, it creates even more confusion.
Yeah, it doesn't give them a firm foundation.
It doesn't, and stability. It doesn't give you stability if you're not stable in your own identity.
Yeah.
Because of your mother.
Well, and something happened when it went from liberals, there was traditional liberals, and then liberals became extremely progressive with this woke ideology. And under this new progressive regime, you're seeing parents not able to give their children firm foundations, and you're seeing a huge influx of these trans-identifying kids from parents in Hollywood and extreme progressive liberals. There's definitely a big difference between a traditional liberal parenting and extreme progressive liberal parenting.
Mm-hmm. And also, there we go. So apparently, maybe this time they will decide to let the child be what they actually are. They're sex assigned at birth. I hate that term, but like their actual sex and their actual gender, which is a little girl, because Machine Gun Kelly said she's finally here, our little celestial seed, which I found really funny. He wrote on Instagram, and I mean, he seems to be happy. They seem to be saying they're trying to just be co-parenting and be parents to this child, but also not get back together. And again, I think one of the big issues that nobody talks about, other than, like very right-wing, conservative, traditional people, is the importance of having, a stable family for the success of any child.
Oh, definitely, for sure. So the fact that now she's co-parenting with two different co-parents, she has multiple babies' daddies. This is never a good thing. It's good that these parents maybe are still in their life. I don't know about Machine Gun Kelly, but Brian Austin Green.
I mean, she was just born, so he was at the hospital, and he was happy about it. So yes, he's still, as of the 2 days, one day.
I don't know if he's going to be a strong
she was born yesterday, so she's a day.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to be a strong masculine role model. So I think that's what a parent needs, because Megan Fox is extremely rich. She can afford a nanny or something like that to help her. But what the father actually provides is a stable, strong male role model and male lead.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, at least that's what they should provide. So I don't know about in this situation, but...
And we do see and have seen the consequences. Also in Mexico, the divorce rate keeps going up, surprisingly. Well, ever since I was young, more and more people were getting divorced. But you can see the consequences. And there are effects that nobody wants to talk about. And it's really taboo in this society to talk about the consequences of divorced parents.
Well, Mexico is actually the one that set the divorce rate so high because of what they call Mexican divorce. This is taking hold in the United States now. So what Mexican divorce is no-fault divorce. It first originated in Mexico, so that's why they now call it Mexico divorce as a kind of secondary name. Mm-hmm. So if you see a lot of people talking online in debates about it, they'll often refer to it as a Mexican divorce. It's just a no-fault divorce, but the United States...
And what does no-fault? What would that mean?
You don't have to. Doesn't have to be a reason for the divorce. You can just finalize the divorce and end it very quickly without trying to reconcile. Mm-hmm. So the divorce rate literally shot up in Mexico after no-fault divorce came in, and then the United States adopted that same system, and their divorce rate shot up through the roof.
I mean, originally, in a lot of ways, no-fault divorce was coming as a way, in case there was some sort of domestic ABUSC or like bad things happening between the couple that one of them couldn't talk about, if they didn't have to. But it, of course, got, taken advantage of. And now everybody just gets married, gets divorced. They don't care who they marry initially. They just have to marry somebody as long as they have money, and then they divorce, and then they get married to somebody else. And
yeah, marriage has become more of a financial arrangement rather than something that to build a life and a family with and things like this.
Something meaningful.
Yeah, something meaningful. When the marriage goes wrong, you should be almost forced to try to reconcile for an extended period of time.
Unless there's real violence.
Yeah, but there should be an extended period of time where you can't get divorced. Even if there is violence, they can separate, but it should be a big hassle to actually finalize the divorce, and it should take a long time.
Because then that would also give marriage a lot more significance than what it has nowadays.
Yeah. Well,
now it's basically a contract and a way to file taxes. But if it was harder to get divorced, then people would think twice before they actually got married and maybe not waste who knows how many years of their lives.
Well, also the big issue is the state is taking over marriage rather than religious institutions. That's where it kind of started. I would like to see the state actually stay out of marriage and just, what do you call it?
Common law?
Yeah, just have, like, you can, after you're married, you can go into the courthouse for a common law agreement, which would be all the financials and tax things. Mm-hmm. But I think marriage itself should be only implemented by religious institutions. But that's just me. Okay, maybe we'll go into the next story here.
Sure. Ugh. Don't like it. Beyonce, I really will never understand. Ow, I keep hitting my microphone. Will never understand what people see or saw or why they think Beyonce is this huge icon.
Well, she was from my time when she first came up, and I remember her. What was her little group she had?
Destiny's Child.
Yeah, Destiny's Child.
She was also from my time.
Well, Destiny's Child was big during my time, and then she married Jay-Z, so it gave her kind of like cult status, I guess. But Beyonce, why didn't you read a little bit?
Literal cult status. Beyonce snubbed by 2025 Academy of Country Music Awards, so the CMA, after Album of the Year Grammy win. Beyonce won Album of the Year and Best Country Album from Cowboy Carter. She did not deserve it at the Grammy Awards earlier this year. And I mean, she did not do country like it's not a country album, it's whatever the hell she wanted to put out there. And at the same time, finally somebody tries to stop her in her tracks, and the CMA Country Music Awards luckily didn't just bend down to Jay-Z's will.
Well, where did she win the Album of the Year? The Grammys. It was rumored that Jay-Z actually bought that Grammy for her for that Country Music Award.
Not just that one, let's just say.
But even they can see the transition that's going to happen in the culture. It's going more conservative. It's going more towards country music. That's why you have a big pop star like this trying to cross over. So, I don't think it's working, and I don't think people are going to buy it. So.
So the list for the nominations for the CMAs were unveiled yesterday, and her name was notably left off the list. This isn't the first time, as the cultural icon was also snubbed by 2024 CMAs last year.
Okay.
I don't know how Cowboy Carter was chart-topping, and it was not a country album.
Okay, let's go. We got quite a few cultural stories, so I just want to kind of run through some of them.
Sure.
Okay, the next one is Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith addresses Chris Rock Oscar slap on new album. My S still hot, even though I won't get nominated. It's not.
He's trying to act like a tough guy. He's not a tough guy. He's trying to get back his masculine.
His wife has him by the balls.
Well, I don't even know. It's kind of like a closet marriage. Like,
yes.
Yeah. It's
who knows what kind of marriage that is.
Well, it's rumored that he's actually gay, and that's at the marriage's forefront. Yes. And that's why he doesn't also leave her, even though she's absolutely batshit crazy.
But what is she then?
Well,
she might be gay, but she's just insane.
Well, no, he's gay.
No, I know. He might be gay, but what the hell is wrong with her then?
She just likes power and control. And she doesn't have anything without him, because every podcast, every movie that she does, it's through him. They took her out of the new Men in Black, and he almost lost. I don't know if he did lose the role, but it was rumored he was going to lose the role because of her.
I try not to keep up with him or with them.
Okay, let's go on to the next story.
I also find it weird, the whole thing where she's like, "Oh, Tupac was obsessed with me," and it's like, no, he wasn't. Sorry.
This was a good story. Yeah, this was my favorite.
You just had it as a different headline, but remake of Kurt Russell's dystopian cult classic action movie gets sad update from one-time director.
Okay, so John Carpenter was the original director of this, and this was a cult character, Snake Plissken. This was from my time, but
from Escape from New York.
Yeah, from Escape from New York. Escape from LA was not very good, I will say that. They started bringing in a surfboard and all kinds of other crazy shit that didn't fit the character. But what I was going to say is they interviewed him on stage just briefly about the people that currently own the IP want to make a new Escape from New York, only they want to make Snake Plissken a female. And he said that was an extremely bad idea. John Carpenter's known to be somewhat based. So it's a shame if they take it in the direction of female ass kicker again, because we always see how that turns out. The most recent example of feminist failure in these female roles was Furioso. And Mad Max, the new Mad Max that had come out, was phenomenal. And then they had to do Furioso Part 2, and it just wasn't the same.
Furioso?
Furioso. Oh, sorry, Furioso. Okay, calm down.
I was trying to look for the quote, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, also, Kurt Russell had said he was too old for the role, but if you have a grizzled old man that's just forced into trying to saving the day again, it can kind of work. But
they've tried to make it work, though, a few times, and not always successful.
But I have an idea.
Okay.
So Kurt Russell actually has a son who's quite a good actor, and rather than just putting him in the role, what you could have is Kurt Russell forced into kind of coming back as Snake Plissken, and in the movie written into the script, because the character could obviously potentially have a son he never knew about, so they would kind of save the day together, but it wouldn't be a father-son relationship. It would be more of a buddy movie, so you could put more jokes and it could work a lot better with the chemistry.
Okay.
That's my idea for the new movie.
Okay.
They can
Hollywood,
steal it.
There's your pitch.
They can steal it if they want. You're low energy today.
It's Friday, as I was saying. Indian Premier League broadcast on JioStar shatters viewership records in opening week.
So yeah, this is a pretty big story because Disney actually had a chance to purchase this at a fairly cheap rate. They chose not to.
Does it Disney own Star?
This is JoyStar. JioStar.
Okay.
However you say it.
Okay.
But no, Disney passed on this particular property. They could have got it at a pretty good deal. I don't think they realized how popular it was, and India is migrating to almost every country around the world right now. So this is being pretty successful in a lot of different countries. Cricket is definitely an emerging property. I don't like cricket. I don't watch it, but I do understand that it's one of the major emerging sports because of India. So next time this property comes up for sale, I'm thinking somebody bigger is going to pick it up, like ESPN or Disney, which is the same company.
It's funny that in Vancouver, when I was in university, woke Indian kids, so like woke Indian students, were trying to make the case that cricket was a colonizer sport and that their friends shouldn't watch it. And it did not go over well with the people who were actually interested in cricket. But that's about as much as I know about cricket. So, had the biggest viewership figures on March 22nd. Cumulative watch time of 56 billion minutes.
That's
across all of the
and because each game lasts quite a significant amount of time.
Yeah, they have tea in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but I always find it cute that they like have tea.
The amount of viewership that this gets and the length of time, it's not like you're just going to watch it for a few minutes. It also has major potential for advertising because it is a live sporting event. It can be shown into bars, nightclubs, things like this. So
okay. Yes, that was
let's go into
the story about cricket. Jen Psaki announced his departure as head of Amazon MGM Studios.
That's not the Jen Psaki from CNN either.
Jen Psaki.
Yeah, Jen Psaki.
I don't know how to say that last name, but yeah. Her.
Oh, so she is actually not announcing her departure. She was fired. She was fired from Amazon. Amazon is taking out some of the management roles. So there is going to be nobody taking over her position. They just completely ended it. So I think that's a good idea. There's probably too much management. They do need to cut costs, and the major costs in a lot of these companies are the upper management. If they cut the upper management and get senior staff, senior directors, people that kind of know how to run these sets and do a lot of that work, I think it would be much better managed. You often, okay.
Well, I was trying to read if there was anything else.
Well,
on
and
it,
one of the big reasons, and that goes into the next story, was what happened with 007 and Amazon. They ended up having to pay almost $1 billion for that franchise. They thought they had bought the property when they bought, I believe it was. They bought a movie studio, may have been Warner Brothers. They thought that was included in it. It wasn't.
MGM.
Oh, MGM. They had bought MGM, but 007, the property rights were not included. So they had to pay an additional $1 billion to, oh God, I forgot, something green?
Broccoli.
Yeah, Laura Broccoli?
Something broccoli.
Yeah, anyway, her family had owned the 007 property for generations, and that's what really kept it true to character. I really think Amazon may mess this up,
Yes.
but we'll see.
We saw what happened with Lord of the Rings and the whole sequels and prequels, etc. Like, they completely ruined it, and the TV show that they brought up, nobody watched. It did terribly, and it also just smeared J.R.R. Tolkien for the rest of time.
With senior management getting axed at Amazon, a lot of the wokeness was brought in by senior management, and specifically her, Jin Salk. So this could be a good move for Amazon overall.
And again, we see like Hollywood studios, etc., maybe realizing the error of their ways and bringing in, taking away all of the bloat of the DEI, etc.
But we keep saying it, it's going to take a year or two before all these woke
changes
scripts
are seen. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into the next one. There's 4 more, I think, here.
This one was like.
I thought this was a good idea.
Sure.
And
Legend of Zelda live action film sets March 2027 theatrical release from Sony Pictures. But why do they keep trying to make everything live action?
Well, one of your old friends that you didn't like used to love Legend of Zelda.
A lot of people I knew used to love Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I used to love Legend of Zelda as well. And Nintendo actually makes really good movies. They made a good Mario movie.
But they were not live action. The really old live action Mario ones, those are funny.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to give this thing a chance. And it's from Sony Pictures as well. So it has potential. It has all the right things there. We're going to have to, it's quite a ways out. So we'll have to see if the right components come in. I think the kid from Dune would fit the role well, though.
What kid from Dune?
That's dating that.
Timothée Chalamet or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
No.
He kind of looks like that.
He's in everything.
Yeah, but he would fit the role.
He's annoying.
I don't necessarily like him in a lot of things, but he was good in Dune, and I could see him in Legend of Zelda.
Okay. Ubisoft is getting a $1.25 billion bailout from Tencent to spin off Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege.
So this is a way for the Chinese government to come in and really buy these big properties, and so have a really big hand in American culture going forward. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what does happen with this, but. Yeah, that's what that's why I put that in there. Okay. If you don't know, Tencent is one of the major corporations within China. The Chinese government has a hand in all their corporations because it's a communist country. So Tencent buying this, it's going to be interesting what does happen because.
And what comes out of it?
Trump and the U.S. government is trying to kind of clear house from China owning a lot of things within the United States, like farmland and things like this. And later on, when we move over to what I call those?
RUMBLE.
RUMBLE. There's major news today. You're gonna want to go over to Rumble with us, and it's about a U.S.-China conflict. I have multiple stories about this coming from all directions, so it's gonna be interesting if the U.S. government, if something does break out this year or next year, are they gonna allow them to continue to own these properties?
And with video games and stuff, we remember everything that happened with the States and the way they were trying to manage video games. What was that? The Sweet Baby Inc. issue and the wokeness that had infected them. So now maybe the communism is the next thing that's going to infect them. We'll see how the people that actually care about them respond.
Well, a lot of that wokeism may have actually been funded by China. So maybe the mask is just coming off and they're going to own it directly now. Okay, let's go into the next story here.
Disney names Tamotsu Hiro New Japan managing director. Hiro replaces Carol Choi, who retains her regional executive responsibilities. Okay. Blah blah blah.
Usually, I would say this is a good replacement, and I don't mind the replacement. We'll see what happens. I don't know too much about him, but the former lady that was actually running Disney Japan did a very good job, surprisingly, because most women in executive roles often don't, but she did. So she's being replaced. What else does it say here about it?
The Walt Disney Company announced Friday the appointment of Tamotsu Hiro as managing director for Japan. He will report to Disney APAC president Luke Kang. Hiro will take over the Japan leadership role from Carol Choi. Blah, blah, blah. Under Choi's leadership, Disney Plus rose to become a top streaming platform in Japan, and a robust Japanese original content pipeline was established.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing because Disney Plus is not the greatest streaming platform.
And I was going to say, I mean, Japan has anime.
So the fact that she was able to sell this just shows that she was worth her weight in gold, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But she mainly focused on Disney Plus because Disney keeps a lot of control over the parks themselves and the international market.
There's one park that's owned not technically by Disney. I don't remember if it's Hong Kong, Shanghai, or this one.
Well,
there was one that does a lot better always because they're not fully owned by or managed by Disney because they I believe it's Tokyo actually, the one where Disney doesn't have full control.
Maybe.
Let me double check.
I was watching a documentary about the Wizard of Oz theme park. Did you see that?
No.
They built a Wizard of Oz theme park.
Yes, it's Tokyo.
Decades ago in the middle of the United States there, and it was abandoned. And so it has the yellow brick road, but everything got overgrown and it was really worn down. And now the local people are trying to bring life back to it. It's a pretty interesting little theme park.
So yeah, Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea are managed by the Oriental Land Company, and they lease license the intellectual properties from the Disney company, which is why those two parks are always doing so much better and have actually way better technology and better rides, and everything is better, done a lot better than the US versions and even the Europe version.
What's Japan Sea or Disney Sea?
Tokyo Disney Sea?
Yeah.
I want to go. It's like it's themed around like the ocean, and it's a lot of like water rides and The Little Mermaid and Nemo, and they also have a 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea thing. I don't know.
Do they have animals?
No. I mean, I think they have like a small aquarium, like the one in Epcot, but.
Oh, okay. I don't like aquariums very much. I think it's cruel for the animals unless they're real.
If it's fish.
If it's little fish, but if it's once they start getting into a certain size.
If it's mammals, no.
Like I didn't like the Vancouver aquarium at all.
And even if the Vancouver aquarium, they're all rescues, but.
And the Vancouver Zoo is just, man, they had tropical animals
really
outside in the snow.
Yes.
Like giraffes and hippos. It was crazy.
I hate zoos and all that stuff. But yeah.
Okay, and the last story of the day for YouTube is?
Hold on. GameStop slumps as its plan to sell debt to fund Bitcoin purchases raises some questions.
So yeah, GameStop is just a scam company at this point. They were able to raise money for their stock because people were trying to manipulate the stock market, the younger generation, which was actually, I really supported that movement. It was interesting. And it was good to see because it really threw a lot of uncertainty into the stock market and your traditional stockbrokers that thought they had it all figured out.
Yes.
But I actually used to work for GameStop as a manager in the States, and it was just a front to buy stolen video games for an extremely cheap price. So they would put these GameStops in low-income areas where a lot of theft would take place. People would know they can get cash for video games, so they would come in, a video game that would cost like $40 or $50, they would give you $5 or $10 for it. Yeah, so we were just loaded with these hundreds of video games, and people were bringing 5 or 6 copies of the same game at a time.
I don't know if we have had, I mean, I think now we do, but I don't know if when I was younger we had it here.
Well, there's Game Planet here in the mall.
And in Canada.
Yeah.
But again, I was never really big into video games. Well, in Canada
they have GameStop.
Yeah, no, I know, but I was never big into video games. I think people did it through Blockbuster, I think, here in Mexico.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
I used to really like video games a lot. That's why I started working there. And then that's also why I worked at Blockbuster and in a movie theater because I loved movies. So
yeah, the movies did attract me, but I would get really frustrated playing video games if I didn't do well. So I would just get angry and stop playing. So they're not for me because I need to. Need to do well, and if I don't, it gets too frustrating.
Yeah, and I liked it when it was much more simple on a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Now it's like, do I want PC? Do I want this? I don't know. It's just, and it's too many hours on a game. You can get sucked in.
That too.
Even movies I have trouble watching now fully.
Yeah, well, because they make them so long. I mean, just rewatching Snow White and some of those classics that I did recently for the video I just made. I mean, those were 90 minutes, and they were very like planned out to be never longer than 90 minutes because they knew people's attention spans, especially children. But now they're like 2 hours long or like longer, 4 hours.
Yeah, I watch everything at 2 times speed when I'm on YouTube now. So, and you hate it.
Yes, because I'm a completionist and I like to see things as they should be, but whatever.
Okay, well, let's go to the Jucam and say goodbye to the audience, and we'll see you over on RUM.
Say goodbye to YouTube.
RUMBLE.
Yes, so the link is down below. We will be talking heavy politics there.
Major political news today. I think we only have 2 people watching. I don't know if you're going to come over, but
well, it's Friday.
So. A lot of these stories aren't being reported by mainstream media, and if they are, they're being reported, and there's no follow-up. These are some of the biggest stories of the year so far.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see you there. The link is down below. Have a lovely weekend, and we will see you on Monday, and thank you so much for being here. If nobody says anything else, I will end it now. Okay. Hang on.